what's good? So I have a couple more thoughts on mean reversion and I want to document them. Basically, when I'm thinking about mean reversion or going with the market, this is the ultimate decision. This is ultimately where I find myself deciding so many times, and I think other people might in their own way too, where the market is outperforming in one direction. Let's say directional, and then we'll get into what I'm actually thinking. Let's say directional. If the market is an average price, but then the market goes up and it's outperforming its average, well outperforming, way past it, we would expect it to move back to the mean. Okay, I would expect that. It doesn't work. So that means buying it when it goes up is the better answer, and the answer is no. It's break even on the year. I don't know how I keep finding break even, but this shit is amazing. It's amazing. So my point is, if it goes up away from its average, if the market is outperforming what it should be, I'm left with the question, should we just go with what the market is telling us to do? It's clearly outperforming upwards. Let's just buy it, right? And a lot of people have that mindset. Trend followers have that mindset. But then other people don't. Other people have the opposite mindset. We should mean revert it. It's outperforming. Look at what the data says. The data it's very rare that it goes this far. It outperforms at this level. We shouldn't think that that's going to continue. And that's true as well. So both sides have great arguments, and I find myself trying to decide which party am I, and I put it to the test. A lot of times I put it to the test, and I say, all right, fine, I'll be a trend follower. Show me the results. And I get almost break even. And then I'm like, all right, I'll mean revert it. And I'm almost break even as well. It's the same, it's opposite, so it's the same thing. There's no edge to either this year. And it's obviously specific to the inputs that I select, so I'm sure you can modify the inputs to make it profitable for trend following this year. But I was just trying to be very general, giving it no bias, and I messed around with a lot of different things because I was going for trend following at the start. And I find myself finding a lot of no edge, a lot of times where it's almost break even. It's actually amazing. So my point is, it's kind of difficult to say when things are outperforming, we should go back to the mean. Because the measure in which we find if it's outperforming or not does not include the duration of how long we've been outperforming for. Okay? It just is providing the magnitude of how outperforming we are. It's not giving me a x-axis. It's only giving me a y-axis, meaning it tells me, positive 2 standard deviations away from the mean. It's very rare that this happens. But then it doesn't tell me how long it lasts at this point in time. If it's continually positive 2 standard deviations, because if the order sends and the algo sends whatever, we start ordering right as it hits 2 standard deviations, because we're like, it's got to revert back to the mean. And I'm thinking that all the time. That's like my immediate response. It's on the sub 5% of the time it's this far. Well, it's got to come back. But I'm not even worried about how long it has spent at this level. So if it's spent at this level for a long time, and it's positive 2 standard deviations. So both the y-axis is outside the bounds and the x-axis is sub 5%, outside the bounds, meaning it actually should not continue anymore. Actually should not. Based on the data, based on a shit ton of data. Then we mean revert. And I'm telling you right now, it's going to change the result, because when we're talking about trading is technical. Where you buy and sell is so technical. Like the location, the time, like boom, you enter. The difference between your short and your buy to cover, or your buy long and your sell stop, if that changes even a little bit, it changes the outcome of everything. Okay, and I'm talking about like 150 trades a year, or 300, or even 600, depending on the frequency. So I'm talking about a decent amount of trades per year, okay? Not high frequency, but not low frequency. So it affects it greatly. And what I'm saying is that most of the time that I've been doing this is I'm not taking into account how long it has spent at these outrageous levels. And I can talk about exactly how I what I'm actually thinking about these, like what is outperforming. Like, what do you mean? Price is far away from the average price? Or what do you mean? I can actually go into what that actually is. Because I'm looking at volatility. I'm actually not looking at price movement. Price. I'm examining price. That's the data input that we have. But I'm looking at the volatility of price. And if volatility is super high, we should think it's going to come down. And you're right. Volatility is an oscillator. You're right. It will come down. But when? Because the moment I start mean reverting, I want to revert that volatility back to the mean. I trade I'm short volatility. So meaning if volatility persists, I lose. And I keep on getting messed up, and I keep on losing, and I don't understand why. It's because at the moment it goes outrageous levels of volatility, I start mean reverting, boom, the volatility just continues. So the moment of my entry is not timed. My entry is not timed. The magnitude is there. You got the y-axis right, but you don't have the x-axis right. Okay, so you need them both, bro. We're playing Battleship. You need both things, x and y. You need both of them correct, bro. It's freaking miserable out here. It's so hard. So you need to be so accurate. I'm talking, way more accurate. So don't just get in because it's high volatility and it's positive 2 standard deviations or even 3 or 4. It's outrageous levels of volatility. You gotta come back in volatility. And you're right. You are right. But how long will it take until you're proven right? Because we know you're going to be proven right. How long will it take? That is what we need to measure now. So long time of trying to figure that out, and I just realized that I don't even know how long it actually resumes. What's the duration of time or number of price bars, number of movement? It doesn't even have to be time based. It can be increment counts. It can be I would probably do time based, but even then, trade counts based on what I'm doing. So there's just a lot of different ways to say, to count that x-axis, how long it takes. And I would probably just start with time. But, I think there's an opportunity there. That's what I'm saying. So, but yeah, first and foremost, we model the market, find the baseline, because if there is no baseline, how do we know it's over exaggerated? Like what I'm trying to do, it's not that hard, dude. Find statistical advantage. I'm trying to find statistical advantage, my friend. And the only way that I can think about it is, what's normal? Oh, what's abnormal? Okay, if it's abnormal, it should come back to normal. Am I right? And your answer is, because it does oscillate. That's the one thing that's actually guaranteed based on the data. It does oscillate. It does go from low volatility to high volatility. Okay? And it doesn't mean it goes a high, low, high, low. It can be high, medium, high, higher. Then it goes down to normal, high, and then low. Like, it doesn't actually make perfect sense all the time. So what I'm saying is, like, when it is so over exaggerated, the only time that I can count on it, where I want in a position, I want my back against the wall in terms of my positioning here. You know, if I'm in the middle of volatility, I'm betting the volatility is going to go lower. Well, the volatility can go easily higher. So that's why I want to put my orders way positive 2 standard deviations, way far away. I'm on the edge of the fucking spectrum, man. I'm on the far edge. Like, far edge. Like, it should not continue, dude. That's what I want to be, because I feel like that's the only time it can be predictable. You know? Like, how else? I mean, there's probably... Look, this is just spreadsheet type of data. There's other ways to trade. There's candlebar formations, and we don't have to worry so much about the data, like, that I'm trying to track. And it could work better. It probably could. But how respectable will the market be to those patterns? I don't know. And in terms of the data that I'm looking at, how respectable is the market going to be to volatility in general? I think it's going to be respectable because we have so much data, and we always have a pulse on the market, and nothing slips by us. So we're always admitting data into our database, and we're just continually finding the outliers, the times where the market is in an outlier condition, and then we bet accordingly. That's it. Like, that's what I want to do. I think that's the move. So how do we actually do this? It all sounds nice, but how do we actually do this? And I'll say this. Like I said in the beginning, all right, we need to find a baseline. We need to find when things are too... Okay, you want more specifically? You can't bet on ATR, but I can... Each model that we have to have in a market, whether it shows volatility, it shows anything, it needs to be tradable, okay? It needs to boil it down to a trade. So, like, if I know the gaps are going to close 89% of the time. Gaps are going to be filled 89% of the time, okay? And I don't know if that's the stat. I have the stat. I haven't looked at it for a long time. But if gaps are going to close 89% of the time, you might think that, wow, that's tradable. And it's not, because how long does it take until the gap closes? We don't know. I mean, how big of a stop do you need? Like, it can go crazy and then come back. So 89% of the time the gaps close, well, that's not really a trade. It's a stat, and it's a fucking useless stat. It's a useless stat. That's why I'm saying every stat that I want to create, that I try my best to create, I want to boil it down to a trade. If this happens, if the problem, like, let's say if it's 89% or whatever, I'm just trying to boil it down to where a stop loss might be and a target might be, so then I can actually trade the edge that I see, okay? So when I look at increments, I know where my stop and target's gonna be on an increment basis where I'm looking at my spreadsheet. That makes sense to me because there's actual places for my stop and actual places for my target where I can actually simulate if this is the case, if it's over exaggerated, we can actually trade that. And that's my point, what we need to do whenever we model the market, whenever we think of things, we have to, I won't even do it if there is not a way to make it a trade. Because the whole point is to trade and make money, my friend. You need to make it a trade. So, I know, that's a lot, but I know that's a lot. It's a lot. But we're in a deep, dark woods that I don't think many people are in. And I'm making a campfire. So that's what it's like right now. It's a nice little campfire. Not many people are around. I'm making some oatmeal on my cast iron pot on the fire. And I'm just thinking, that's where I am right now. The world continues, but I am like not of this world. That's what I feel. I'm like in my own little woods, bro. So, and that's where I'm happy. I'm happy in this woods because, or at least I tell myself that. I don't know subconsciously what I feel, but I can tell you this interests me. And I set out on this mission, and that's my calling. It's my calling. So I belong in these woods. That's why I like these woods. So yeah. So what am I thinking, man? That's all I'm thinking. It's very confusing, but I think that it's probably important to see when it's over exaggerated, to see how long it's over exaggerated for, and if at a certain point it's over exaggerated at high levels and it's been over exaggerated for this long, half an hour, 20 minutes, I don't know how many bars or how many increments it's passed, 100 increments has passed, whatever, I don't know. I don't actually know how I'm going to do that. Let's say 45 minutes. If it's spent this long still at these high levels, not price, but volatility, all right, we're going to bet against volatility. And how I would do that is mean revert by risking 7 to make 1, saying it won't continue trending this hard in either direction. It's going to go sideways, and then we can make money betting on sideways movement. And that's what I'm saying. So, and even then, if it can go the other way too, bro. It can be like volatility is so little, and we can start trending it. We can start trailing our stops and adding to our winner and asking for trends to envelop and fold themselves out. That's what I want, and we can go for that as well. It's just a matter of when to do that. And I'm telling you right now, just because it's over exaggerated does not equal doing that. Does not equal going. Just because it's over exaggerated, it can still remain over exaggerated for a period of time. That's why I'm saying it's so important to see how long it takes for it to actually revert back to the normal, to the baseline. That's the answer. I mean, is there any other way to think about it? Seriously, like, how else do you think about statistically trading this market? Honestly, you need to find a normal. If it's crazy, it's got to go back to normal. What else? Am I missing something here? Like, okay, it's normal. That means we should have variation. I don't know. I don't know. I don't freaking know. But this is what I'm going with right now. So we'll see what happens. I'm just gonna be testing a lot of shit. So, all right. I appreciate it. That was 19 minutes. Wow. That's a lot of talking. All right. Peace and harmony. I appreciate it. Peace and harmony. Peace.